Hi everybody and welcome back. Now in part 1, we talked about the wellness field overall and explored the roots and origins for coaching. Now in part 2, we're going to expand upon that by talking about the different ways that wellness coaches work. This section is titled Being a Wellness Coach, and we will explore learning related to both one-on-one coaching and corporate wellness coaching. During this lesson, we also encourage you to do a self-assessment of your knowledge, skills, and abilities, and have provided screens for this in the written portion of your material. Lastly, we'll talk a little bit more about items to consider as you move forward with marketing your skills as a wellness coach. Now, in its simplest form, wellness coaches help people to improve their health and their well-being, and they use personalized coaching skills to do this. Usually, people come to a wellness coach because they're struggling with something that's blocking their well-being, and this can include stress, weight loss, life balance, or even energy levels. So coaches help clients overcome this struggle of recapturing their health and wellness and their well-being. But they also build skills into the relationship, such as self-motivation, self-awareness, confidence, and resilience. Most importantly, wellness coaches are distinguished from other types of coaches because they help clients make changes that are sustainable. Oftentimes, clients have already tried a lot of different quick fixes and find that they haven't stuck. Wellness coaches are skilled at getting clients to a place where behaviors stick and it becomes part of a new lifestyle embedded into who they are. Since the wellness field is new and the qualifications and training standards for wellness coaches are always being evaluated for effectiveness, there's a strong case to be made for national standards, and this is really where we are today. So part 2 will be more about describing a little bit more detail on how it is to be a wellness coach. And when you're done with this particular lesson or section, you will be able to describe the dynamics of the one-on-one coaching model and to describe the differences between coaching models in use today. You'll also know how to perform a personal assessment of your current knowledge, skills, and abilities. And lastly, you'll be able to brainstorm some creative ways that you can market your skills as a wellness coach. Now, many are predicting this sort of financial crisis that's based around the healthcare and the needs of baby boomers. With 70% of healthcare costs being related to preventable disease, each and every one of us has this sort of responsibility to do our part to take good care of our health and our wellness. And if we don't do it collectively, it's going to become extremely expensive for both the individuals as well as our society overall. So people are awakening to realize that pharmaceutical companies aren't going to cure being overweight or diabetes anytime soon, and what remains is to work on improving our lifestyles each day. So we're saying to ourselves, it's up to me, and how am I going to do this? And who's going to pay for my health care in the future? So these are important decisions that people face and want to take action on. Some will look for a wellness coach to give them guidance on this journey. Your coaching style is largely determined by both your personality and the needs of your clients. Now, depending on your background, you may approach wellness topics differently. However, your delivery model in terms of being able to change behaviors should always remain the same. You might be seeking to get your wellness coaching credential to enhance your current profession or career, or you might be branching out into a new field altogether. Either way, wellness coaches have options, and within these options there are different characteristics that may help you to determine which type of coaching style you would like to use. For example, if you're coaching individuals one-on-one and face-to-face, you will most likely need to go out and cultivate a client base. If you're working for a company or a corporation, you will have an active client base immediately, but your coaching style will be more geared for both individuals as well as groups. You will therefore need to brainstorm different ways that you can be creative to both market yourself and then deploy or use your strategies. Now, because of the wide scope of topics that make up the wellness field, there is most likely going to be a need for you to use external resources to learn concepts that right now might be unknown to you. For example, if you are a personal trainer, you may not have very strong skills tied to behavior change coaching, but your knowledge of exercise physiology and nutrition will help you to coach your client after all of your assessments have been done. On the other side of things, if you're a licensed social worker, you will need to learn more of the exercise sciences or those natural or organic sciences. But like all wellness programs delivered to our clients, your knowledge, skills, and abilities are all about balance. There are benefits to being a wellness coach besides the fact that it happens to be a really fulfilling job, and the first is your flexibility. You'll be able to decide or determine if you want to do telephonic consulting, face-to-face consults, or if you want to communicate with your clients using other forms of technology such as email or fax. Opportunities will be different for wellness coaches too, depending on the paths that they choose. Wellness coaches can work with individuals or in corporate environments. They can also write books, articles, teach seminars, as well as work alongside professional medical personnel such as doctors or other medical specialties. In terms of income, this will be largely determined by your experience and your geographic location. Right now, sessions with the wellness coach run anywhere from $50 to $150 per hour. But maybe the most important benefit is the personal satisfaction that the coach gets once they experience the feeling of truly helping someone to reach their goals. This would be in addition to the relationships that are built and formed during the coaching process. We've talked about baby boomers and mentioned Gen Xers and millennials in part 1. Now let's talk a little bit more about who can use a wellness coach. Now it should be clear that everyone can use a wellness coach at one point in time, but when you really think about this question, it's almost impossible to not take the next step and think about what a client would look for in a good wellness coach. When a wellness coach works one-on-one with their client, each individual client will view you as their own personal leader or wellness practitioner during the entire course of your coaching relationship. This implies a great deal, including developing trusting relationships for sustained engagement in the coaching process. Coaching guidelines are very useful to be mindful of when coaching in either a one-on-one or group format, and there are some key non-negotiables of coaching that include what you see on this slide. Now keep these items in mind in order to help you see the challenges before the coach in order to be effective and successful with the variety of circumstances and the diversity that clients bring to the coaching relationship. So when we work with our client to build their self-awareness, we're helping to keep them present in the moment and helping them to be mindful. When we work with our client to build their self-efficacy and responsibility, we also in turn help the client to build their confidence levels and make them feel as if they can do a certain behavior change. And lastly, the coach will step in to educate and guide the client to motivate them through the process of change. The remaining 4 non-negotiables are listed here for your reference. Now, your coaching services need to be able to be custom tailored for each client, and so the one-on-one face-to-face style interventions allow you to fine-tune a coaching experience with follow-up questions that are appropriate and relevant to your client and their situation, and good conversations, anecdotal evidence, and discussions on strategies with your client. In fact, you may find that you come to base your coaching strategies on these one-on-one conversations because they tend to show your client is more engaged. Follow-up is also important for a wellness coach. This is part of the commitment process so that we can confirm to our client that we are watching for them to stay on track. And going one level deeper, follow-up requires that we keep records of our interactions with clients, and how you do this is really at your own discretion. If you can imagine the thought process of a client who realizes that you cannot remember what's been discussed in past sessions, then you can see the need for a tracking system. One of the best ways to compile, organize, and sort information is through the use of a database, such as Microsoft Access. Electronic forms of databases such as Access help to protect the confidentiality of clients as they are generally more secure. Databases are also extremely useful in the reporting process. This could be really important to a wellness coach deployed into a corporate setting as management and key figures look to your reports for return on investment information and any positive success stories tied to results with clients. A good wellness coach will need to have some positive promotional attributes in order to be successful. Most coaches come into the wellness coaching profession fairly well equipped with one particular field or specialty. Required degrees and certifications from organizations may not be enough, as clients are looking for references and testimonials from past clients. You should also expect that your clients will want to question you about your background in terms of your education, your experience, and the results that you have seen with your clients. This will help to build the prospective client's confidence level in your abilities. Naturally, it's vital for you to show a high level of professionalism in your appearance and demeanor while also demonstrating a passion for what you do. This requires that you know your key strengths and that you're able to convey them to a prospective client without coming across as arrogant or demanding. One of the main things that we've learned from the corporate wellness field is how wellness works in groups. When we present information and statistics on behavior change for people living with disease, we are grouping people together, and as such, these groups or populations tend to show trends toward risky behaviors. Lifestyle factors have been identified as risky if they lead to chronic stages of disease. Now, unfortunately, our lifestyle is sometimes defined by what we do for work because we will usually spend 8, 10, or more hours on the job. Therefore, a large part of our lifestyle becomes what our job is. In fact, situations arising from employment can directly impact our wellness. This would involve levels of stress from work demands, sleep issues for shift workers, substance abuse for high-stress positions, and of course, injuries on the job. Through corporate wellness coaching, we have learned that essentially most wellness concerns are pretty basically the same across the board. What's different is how they affect your client and how you coach your client toward a healthier way of life. We can't really talk about wellness coaching unless we consider all angles or aspects of coaching, and we have mentioned both individual styles and group styles in the way of corporate wellness coaching. We have to separate out the two because wellness coaching is a completely different style of coaching when done in a corporate environment and involves a much larger business component in that you may have to market and promote yourself, determine delivery models, assess your population, coordinate logistics of delivery, and work with management to facilitate coaching flow. An especially unique environment awaits the wellness coach who is fortunate enough to be deployed out into the field where employees perform their jobs. This might entail working with freight employees on a loading dock, or sales personnel in an office, or any job where an employee is at risk either for an injury to occur or their wellness to be compromised by the nature of their job description. The dynamics of group mentality towards one wellness coach can be complicated. You should accept the fact that you will have some people who are very interested in what you provide in terms of coaching, whereas others will be on the opposite end of the scale in complete denial about their health and wellness. Strategies to accommodate both are vital and might include the use of icebreakers or other creative forms of initiating contact with resistors. You're deciding what type of wellness coach business model you'd like to use for your coaching service and delivery. You will have a lot of different factors to consider. It's therefore useful to then turn to yourself first and determine what your knowledge, skills, and abilities are. This sort of self-assessment will allow you to see what areas you may need to work on as an area of focus before moving on to tackle promotion, marketing, and business skills or techniques. Once you know your KSAs, as we call them, you can focus more on business components or marketing techniques. We've included some assessments for you in Part 2 as an effort to help you do a self-evaluation. These 5 values are important for you to know about yourself before you can expect to coach others on their own values. Furthermore, once you know more about yourself, you may find that your thoughts or approaches arise from thinking with more clarity. As we've mentioned, there are career options for wellness coaches. Now, do you want to be self-employed or do you want to be an employee of a corporation or a company? You might find that you want to do both, and that's certainly possible if you can manage the logistics involved. Other factors that may help you to decide what career path to take with wellness coaching include how much time you have to devote to being a wellness coach or to even develop a new client base. If you're already entrenched in a career, you may want to do wellness coaching on a part-time basis. Regardless of your decision, make sure that the one you choose doesn't create undue stress for you as the coach. The benefits of being an employee should be obvious, but they include being able to determine your own work environment, your own pay, your own business model, and everything else related to being in business for yourself. But some coaches feel it's safer to be employed by another agency, as it provides some job security and that your client base is typically provided for you, as in corporate wellness coaching environments. If you are unsure on which direction to go with your career options, try the exercise called Decisional Balance, which is presented in Part 3. This involves looking at both scenarios and evaluating the pros and cons of either decision. In the end, there will be one clear option for you to go with.